Welcome, everyone, to the Red Pill News Spectacular. You know what? I look at the world and I hear people complain. I hear there's this guy on YouTube, right, called the Sandman, and he's like all with the MGTOW movement, and I've heard many of his shows, and he's kind of geeky, quirky, funny, but he really hates women. And he gets mad when people say he hates women. But if you listen to him rant, you know, it's much of what he says is not wrong. Don't get married. How's that? Marriage is a bad deal. It's a bad deal for men in America. It's a great deal for women. But for men in America, it is a terrible, terrible deal. And it's a business deal. It's not, oh, I'm in love and I've got to do this. And, look at Nicolas Cage. I mean, he's a habitual marrier. The guy just can't stay. So I guess some people just need to be married. They want to be married. They like to be married. They like the marriage. I don't know what the hell it is, man. You couldn't put a shotgun to my head and make me get married. I've never been married in my life, and it's not by, early on, I probably would have. I just didn't find anybody. The one girl that I wanted, man, things just didn't work out. Her mother hated me. And then because of that, she was 19, I was 22, and it was just her, she was going to college and all that. And we were just chilling, you know, but the mother took her car away, was threatened her with her college tuition, and I was like, "Yo, move in with me." I had an apartment, I'm like, "Move in with me and chill." You don't need a car. We'll work on that. We do what you got to do, right? College tuition, okay, man, whatever, That's what kind of a simp mind I was, and it didn't work out, and probably good for me. Probably good for me because I've seen so many people get torn up because of bad relationships, especially marriages, where, at the end of the game, you lose half of what you have, maybe more. Tonight, we're going to be talking about one of the longest Hollywood divorces. Of course, I'm talking about Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Dealing with a woman like that who's clearly clinically insane, on top of the fact she's using these children against Brad Pitt, he wants very simple things, and she just wants to put the screws to him. She's basically got 75% of his income, and she is more successful. She actually made more money than he did, but it doesn't work like that in court because the courts bend over backwards for women, and they take care of the kids. If they're single, the courts, I'll tell you, the government nearly encourages women to be single with kids, and we'll give you money for each one. We'll take care of it. All they got to do is stay home and take care of the kids, right? And you see them all the time. You flipping around Facebook and these people pop up, someone you may know, that type of thing, right? And it's a girl with 5 kids, literally, and with a baby, and she's single and she's looking for a dude. At some point, common sense has to step in and prevail, but it ain't happening right now. And I can point to these examples, classic examples of, this is what could happen to you if you are not careful. So Sandman, the guy won't put his real name out there because he's afraid. He doesn't want people to be alienated, I guess, who he works for. He works for a bunch of women. He does video and photography and things like that. So I guess he doesn't hate them. But, the guy preaches to people. You should be like the MGTOW monk. MGTOW stands for men going their own way. And the whole red pill thing came about. That's why he calls himself Sandman. And he also says, take the red pill or whatever, that type of thing. And it's just kind of funny. But I think that not long ago, this is even funnier, right? This guy's all out there on his soapbox saying how evil women are. The only decent life you could have as a male is not to be with women, which to me is telling me I'm not supposed to breathe the air, or drink water. Or, it's part of the game. You're not going to be like the Catholic priest and restrict yourself off of sex for some stupid reason, some unbelievably, they don't even know what the hell they're talking about doing. What they do, they end up molesting children, right? And whatever. I'm not saying they don't have that in them to begin with. It really comes down to people and what they think they are and what they really are. So anyway, with the, with the Sandman, dude, it's more like this. You take the red pill. It gives you vision. It's a tool. It makes you see things how they really are, and that's all it really is. It's just a saying for open up your eyes. You know what I mean? It's just and if you understand people's human nature, and it is a study of human nature, then you're not going to let people walk all over you. You're not going to let people take advantage of you. You're not going to let people do all these things. Yeah, sometimes you fall into it, and sometimes your penis runs away with your brain, and you don't really understand what even the hell you're doing. People around you will say, "What the hell are you doing?" "Oh, I'm happy. I'm in love." Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. And when guys are in love, they usually act like total idiots. Because it's a drug, man. Love is a drug. You know, and then don't you think that people want to be loved? Don't you think that people have, obviously we have the ability to love, and it just seems like in this world, everyone's always searching for it all the time. Even the people who are married, and they get tired of the people they're with because they end up marrying people who aren't right for them, who they're in lust with, not really love, and that wears off. Sometimes I don't believe that true love, and I do believe in true love, and I don't believe it wears off. I think that it comes with a lot of territory like loyalty and faith too. What you have with each other, and if you're a team, that's totally different than one person using another person to actually be a couple in a team. And that's really what it should be, that you're there for each other no matter what. That unconditional love. So anyway, which barely even exists. Do I believe it's out there? Yeah, probably, maybe. I don't know. Probably not. I've seen enough. And even though I wasn't married, I've been in long-term relationships. I was in a 14-year relationship and it went horribly wrong. And, it was a long time of just stagnancy and anger, and it just comes down to if you're not right for each other or something like that. But I like it when people, and like I was saying about the Sandman, he ends up, so I sometimes I'll dip in and see what he's up to, and, then I'll won't listen to him for a couple of years or whatever, right? And I'll dip in again. I dipped in not that long ago, like, a year ago, whatever it was. And he completely did an about face and changed his tune. And I'm like, what happened to this dude? And I automatically knew what happened to him. It was a rhetorical question that I asked myself. I knew that he got into involved. He was pussy drunk. He got into involved in a relationship. He got into a point where, he was over his head, so to speak. And this, he said, even the girl was controlling his content and telling him what to say. And he was, oh, okay, I'll do that too. Ah. So the big Sandman, the guy who's on his soapbox talking how horrible and evil and what monsters women are, and that their DNA is flawed and they're messed up and whatever, right there is doing the same thing. He's pulling a Prince Harry, or Brad Pitt. He's right there. Then afterwards, they break up. He goes back into reality and takes the red pill yet again from his blue pill state of mind, and then feels like a horse's ass and ends up apologizing to all of his people who listen to him on the radio. And there used to be a lot of people that listened to this dude, and it's really throttled down since. I think that episode made a lot of people, I watch Harry Potter, right? Right there at the end where he's fighting that Voldemort, the final movie, the culmination, blah, blah, blah. And then, Voldemort thought he had all the control in the world. And then they thought Harry Potter was dead. And then boom. It's kind of funny all the while, like this most powerful wizard in the world couldn't defeat this kid. You know what I mean? Like, that's just kind of stupid. But anyway, then Harry Potter's alive, and all the Voldemort's people like take off. They're like, that's what happened with Sandman. People took off. They were gone. They don't want. They don't believe in it. But it's like this. Every one of us have been pussy drunk at one time or another. Even if you're gay, it don't matter what the hell you are. All of us have been pussy drunk at one time or another. And usually you have some great family member or some great friend or anybody just smack you and say, hey, you idiot, you're pussy drunk. You got to wake up. You got to sober up and see what's going on. But if it's an honest, and yeah, man, there's women that'll take advantage of you. There's men that'll take advantage of you, but that's not the person you want. You don't want to be with someone who takes advantage of you. You want to be with somebody who cares about your well-being, that when they say things, it comes from a state of encouragement, not criticism. They don't start off with, what your problem is, what you should do. It really comes down to you're your own individual. You were fine as wine before you met that person. Then they got to look into you and say, well, you're flawed. There's things about you that I want to change because I don't like these things about it. That's one thing if you're some raging alcoholic or some drug addict or something like that, where you have some problem, some serious problem. But it's another thing if they just don't like the things that you do, or basically they don't want you to have freedom. They don't really want you to run out and do your thing, especially with your friends, because they want to take up that time. A real woman wouldn't do that to you. A real woman would understand that people need you. She needs her time. You need your time, right? You don't have to spend every waking moment with each other. You know what? When you do that, it becomes unbelievably like that. Except way worse. I wouldn't do it because I want to blast your ears out, man, from that painful, gut-wrenching, from the depths of hell scream being in that type of situation. So, before we get to Brad Pitt, I want to talk about the Atlanta councilman, Antonio Brown, who voted to defund police. He said, defund police. He's one of those guys, right? Had his car stolen, right? Which is kind of funny. So, but what's interesting is what this guy states is the problem with race in America. What the things that he says, and it comes from his position of a bleeding heart. And you have to be realistic. Realistic. So, all right, let me read this in. An Atlanta mayoral candidate who voted to defund millions of dollars from the local police department's budget reportedly had his car stolen by a group of young thieves this week and wound up thanking the cops for the help. He thanked the cops. He said defund the cops. He didn't want the cops there, but he thanked them for the help for retrieving his car. City Council member Antonio Brown had just gotten out of his white Mercedes coupe. Isn't it funny? He's a city council member representing poor people, but he's got that nice Mercedes coupe, really nice. I bet it's really nice, right? So, but he got out of his Mercedes to speak to a fellow community leader, Ben Norman, in Northwest Atlanta's Dixie Hills community Wednesday when he spotted 4 or 5 children, the youngest only 6 or 7. The children were walking around the store and within seconds were inside Brown's car, he said. Now, do you think the kid hotwired the car? Little children? No. The idiot probably left his key in the ignition. So there's your first thing about a moron who says defund the police when they leave their keys. And I'm guessing at this, but I already know, because there's no way the kid is going to jump in a guy's car and hotwire a Mercedes-Benz coupe, being some child. I don't care how talented he is as a child, as a car thief, right? All right. So Ben attempted to open the door and get him out of the car. He fought with Ben. I then engaged and tried to get him out of the car. The 3 other kids were trying to figure out how to get in the car or stay out of the car. They were trying to figure out how to get in the car or stay out of the car. All right. the kid started to hit the gas, and Ben let go. Because you remember that one with the Uber Eats guy, where those two young girls jumped to the teenagers, right? And they stole the guy's car as he was delivering food. They ambushed him. He held on because it was his car, it's his livelihood, it's his money. And then they drive off, and boom, the guy dies. He hits a light pole, dead. The only thing the girls cared about with their phone, my phone's in the car, my phone in the car. I need to get my phone. The only thing they care about is the phone. The fuck guy's dead, right? This is the unbelievable dangerous world that you live in, where people make excuses for others instead of saying, "Well, we need to fix the problem." I hate excuses. When people start throwing excuses at me, or start making like, oh, maybe this person did this and maybe that. Psh, I don't deal in maybes. I deal in facts. I deal in data. I don't deal in maybes, right? So Brown said he filed a report with the Atlanta Police Department. Look out for my beautiful white Mercedes coupe with a bunch of little children in there driving around. He said, thanks to everyone that reached out to check on me. Appreciate the love and support. My car hasn't been recovered, but the situation could have ended a lot worse. There you go. Thanks to the Atlanta Police Department for taking swift action to address the situation. It's time that we reimagine Atlanta together. So now he started to say, let's reimagine Atlanta, right? Authorities confirmed they later found his car, but did not say if they made any arrests. Brown said he doesn't want to press charges, according to WAGA, who took the report. It appeared that the kids acted out of desperation, Brown said. Desperation. Why would you think a bunch of little kids acted out of desperation to steal the guy's Mercedes? Do you think that they were running from danger? They're running from monsters? Freddy Krueger, whatever, man. Anybody coming after them? Alligators? It is Atlanta, right? Got some gators around. Snakes? He says this is a generational poverty issue. These kids, it's 12:30 in the afternoon. Why aren't they in school? Why aren't we enforcing systems to ensure that they are? Why aren't we enforcing systems to ensure that if they are not in school, they're in recreational centers? How about this? You're the goddamn councilman. You're asking questions only you can answer. And there's other council people who say the same type of stuff. But isn't it weird that these bleeding hearts who run the worst poverty centers in America will sit there in their Mercedes making all kinds of excuses, but they themselves can fix the problem? They won't. Why do you think? Brown, who, by the way, is under indictment on several federal fraud charges related to alleged incidents that occurred years before he took city council office in 2019. So he took office in 2019, 2 years ago. Here he is at the same time being under federal fraud charges, several of them, but he got in office anyway, right? He's driving a beautiful white Mercedes coupe. That ain't cheap. So he launched his mayoral run on the platform of reimagining public safety and the policing in Atlanta. The criminal doesn't like the cops. Really? The criminal doesn't like the police. Man, back in my day, down on Long Island in the city, I used to be protester. I'd do stuff. Cops would crack our heads open. I hated them. It maced us. One cop drove his police motorcycle into me. Another one walked a police horse into me, into other people too. I knew what they were capable of. One of them hit me in the back. I was walking up 41st Street, and I was passing this cop on the street, and I didn't even say a word, didn't even fart. And he was like, "What'd you say to me?" Excuse me, I didn't say anything. I didn't even think he was talking to me, even though we were the only two people there. He had me get up against this brick wall, and then he's like talking all this crap. You better watch what you say. I didn't say it. He must have heard voices in his head. And he took his billy club and cracked me across my back and dropped me to my knees. I never trusted another police officer after that. Never, never. But at the same time, I know that they need to be out there, right? They need to be out there. Otherwise, it's going to become mob rule. Whoever has the biggest mob and most guns, who rules. When people preach anarchy, that's what they're talking about. They think anarchy is all free will. You just go out there and live your life. No, because you're always going to have bad people doing bad things, which is why you need a balance. This guy is a criminal. He's a criminal, and he hates the police. He's a criminal driving in a white Mercedes, and he hates police. He's a criminal driving in a white Mercedes who hates police, who makes excuses for little criminals. Those kids probably had his heart. He probably was so fond of them. Oh, I remember the first time I was 7 and stole a car. It was so much fun. Oh, little kids. It's generational problem. Generational racism. Is it? There's institutional racism in America. There has been, there will always be, because people get used. Used. I have good friends who live in places like East New York or Far Rockaway, and I spent a lot of time, years there. You wouldn't believe the stuff that goes on in those neighborhoods under these same type of politicians, the bleeding hearts that they talk all kinds of crap, but they never do anything. And those people don't ever live any better. The people who live there don't live any better unless they can move out of there, which is nearly impossible. So, Mr. City Councilman, right? So, he was one of 7 council members who voted in support of an ordinance to withhold $73 million from Atlanta Police Department's budget until Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms' administration drafted a plan to reinvent the city's culture of policing, the report said. The ordinance came in a wake of numerous demonstrations nationwide following the deaths of multiple black people at the hands of police officers. It was narrowly voted down, according to the report, right? The reality is, Brown told WAGA-TV, we need, this is funny, like, they're actually letting him go on and on because he's a councilman, even though he has all these indictments on him, man, for fraud. We need programmatic initiatives in place to help support these kids to be able to give them another pathway instead of stealing my car. You know what? Yeah, you do need pathways for children to be successful who live in poverty. You do need pathways for people who live in poverty to be successful. And this guy is not going to do it. He's not going to do it. He's going to talk about it while he's driving his Mercedes. I bet he lives in a beautiful house. I bet he's got a couple of them. I bet he's got some nice vacation places, and all the money he spends with money he made from fraud, you know? So how dare you? How dare you? And saying it's all right for the kids to do that. It's not all right. You have any idea how not all right it is for kids to do that? And then he's got the nerve to say, well, I'm not going to press charges. Let those kids go. But yet, what are they going to learn from the experience that it's okay to steal a guy's car? Maybe 10 years from now, 5 years from now, they'll use a gun and steal someone's car, right? You know, it's a pathway to crime. It's crime. It's a path to bigger crime. Here's the thing that's important, you know? So you have a lot of people like that out there that don't really understand how to be a decent human being, right? Anyway, talking about decent human being. Do I hate Brad Pitt? No. Do I hate his movies? Yeah. Whenever someone says, dude, you got to see this movie, Brad Pitt's in there, you love the movie. If you're going to say, I got to see this movie, that Brad Pitt's in it, I'm going to love the movie, I automatically know that you don't know me at all. And I don't think you even understand Brad Pitt and what motivates him. So I only watched one movie he was in, maybe two. One, he was like this in a mental institution. He was really good too, man. He was a great actor in that movie because he played a mental patient. And I think that Angelina Jolie can make you understand how to play a mental patient. I think he actually went mental. He probably shot that movie while he was married to her, and it was just his natural personality at that time, right? And then, that zombie movie. I don't know who thought about putting Brad Pitt in a zombie movie. It just did not work. It didn't work. It didn't work. I kept waiting for the zombies to eat him, and that didn't even happen. So whatever. Here's the headline. Angelina Jolie feels court failed her by not letting her kids testify. So this woman wants to put the poor kids on the stand and testify. You know what? When when women have the kids, especially when the women controls the money over the kids, they have the kids. They can brainwash those kids 6 ways till Sunday, man. The typical is when a couple splits up, and if the woman has the kids, she tells the kids to hate the father, that he's a bum, he's a low life, he's this, he's that, even though the guy's mainly supporting the whole family, right? A lot of these women don't even go out and get a job. The guy's got to work his ass off. I can name people that I know this happened to that were in family court and going back to court again. One of my friends, his ex, her father was the judge. And then the judge that they had was his protege. Now, I would have been like, okay, this guy's got to recuse himself because obviously he's not qualified to be the judge in this case. Nope, didn't happen. That's how much power they have, these judges. Much power, right? So this woman even said that she wanted to see him dead. Dead. The judge said, you know what's going to make you happy? She said, I want to see him dead. I want him to die. And the judge let that go. That's okay, right? So this dude, my friend, paid her all kinds of money and alimony, child support. She kept his 2 kids, trying to brainwash them the whole time. The only thing he wanted to do is spend time with his kids. That's like the most important thing to him. She just kept playing the game. Not meeting on time and whatever. And, there'd be times they didn't see his kids for months because she would play the game. She started dating some dude who was into drugs. And then when my friend went over to pick his kids up one time, the guy got into a fight with him. He had to leave because he didn't want that to happen in front of his kids. So she used the love that he had for his kids against him and against the kids. So he's paying her all this money and alimony and whatever. She's supposed to also be paying the mortgage on the house. She didn't. Let it go in arrears for a couple of years. The bank called up to him and said, hey, we're going to kick your ex and her kids out in the street if you don't pay. This guy had to leave the apartment that he had, nice apartment that he loved, just place that because he was looking for a long time, and go into some rat hole and this is Long Island, man, where rents aren't cheap, go into some rat hole and have to deal with that just to pay the mortgage down. He had to do the fast dance and make a deal. This is the strife of man. This is just one story out of millions and millions. And so Brad Pitt, and it really comes down to marriage, right? It's one thing if you have kids with someone, you got to pay child support. Sure, of course. But you don't have to give all your money up, to someone where your life is destroyed because you got divorced. It shouldn't destroy someone's life. But it does. It does, right? And the courts are unsympathetic. There are some states that just do 50-50, like California. And hey, if you're married to a woman and she's better off than you are, then you're going to be the one who gets a little extra cash in your pocket or whatever, right? But in other states like New York, forget about that. And then if you're in court with a female, she's automatically a victim. Women walk into courts. Women are born a victim. They walk into courts victims. And they play that victim card all the time. And this is because they were treated so crappily for many years. Well, how men treated them. And not all men, but some men, right? Guys walking away from their children. That was a huge problem. It's still a huge problem. But here we go. But these are men who love their children, like Brad Pitt. So Angelina Jolie feels the California court system has failed her by not letting her children testify in her custody battle with her ex-husband, Brad Pitt. The judge his tentative decision to give Pitt joint custody of the kids came after nearly 5 years of legal wrangling. 5 years for that, but they've been getting a divorce, I believe, for 7. This might be the 8th year. 8-year divorce, right? So, Jolie has vowed to fight on. While she's not upset at sharing custody, as we revealed on Wednesday, This is the article talking, right? She had, I guess they're following it, page 6. She had recently submitted alleged evidence of domestic abuse by Pitt to the court that remains under seal. So all you got to see, that's a situation. She knows what she's doing. She's playing lawyer ball. It's under court documents, sealed, but you're going to put it out there. She had recently submitted alleged evidence of domestic abuse by Pitt. So you have the word alleged, which means nothing, which means all you got to do is say that and you're painting people's minds. Even if you're a lawyer in a court of law, all right, and you have a jury in front of you and you know you're not supposed to say something, you could throw it out there and paint their minds, and the judge will say, strike that from the record, tell the jurors we want you to forget it, but they're not going to forget it. It's going to weigh into favor of what direction they're going in, right? If you know how to paint people's minds. Okay. So the custody the custody schedule, and by the way, the domestic abuse claim happens on any guy from any woman who wants to flex their muscle in court or with the police. He hurt me, he hit me, he yelled at me, he said this, you know what? And then the cops will come. Oh, he has guns in the house, They'll take your guns. They'll take you out of the house. They'll say to the guy, even if the woman hits the guy, they'll say to the guy, is there a place that you can go tonight? Well, she hit me. Why doesn't she go somewhere? It's not the way it works, right? So the custody schedule was always determined by the court. A source familiar with the situation said, it's sad that Brad's people are gloating about a potential win when beating a system that exists to protect families and children from issues that harm their well-being is not something to brag about. Isn't it funny how this was said by a friend, not his friend, sounds like her friend, a source familiar with the situation. Yeah, it was Angelina Jolie. It was her publicist. You know, Ugh, she's creepy, man. She really is creepy. I mean, in terms of even her own father says that she's completely nuts. So and she grew up in the royal, Hollywood family. So anyway, the heart of this dispute has not been about keeping the children apart from their father. It's been Angelina asking for care for her family, the source added. Okay, not about keeping the kids from him, but about care for her family. Her motivations have never, ever, never, 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 ever been to deny the children a relationship with their father. We're told Jolie is primarily upset that Judge John Outerkirk declined to let her and Pitt's 6 kids testify in court. 2 of them are theirs, 4 of them are adopted, right? The actress, 45 years old. Really? She's 45? Man, I thought she was much older. I thought she was older than me. I thought she was in her mid-50s. That's funny. She hit the wall, boy. The actress, 45, last year made a legal bid to have the judge who officiated her marriage to Pitt in 2014 throw off the case. So the judge married them. Now the same judge is coming up with like, okay, yeah, he's allowed to see his kids. She's currently awaiting a decision from the appellate court, which could mean Judge Outerkirk's decision could be voided. The source insisted that Jolie never wants other families to go through what she did, adding, this system is at fault, and Angelina is focused on fighting a system that does not take into account the full set of issues that her family and other families in the situation. She's working hard to ensure that other families don't go through her experience. Isn't that funny? A true narcissist will get other people on your side by saying, I'm doing this for you too. I'm helping you. We're doing this together, all of us. They want you to join them to fight their stupid battle, right? And they themselves know that this is the most selfish woman that's on the planet, and she's thinking about other people. No way. The only person she's thinking about, she's not even thinking about her kids. She wants her kids to testify in court. She's not even thinking to put them through that, right? Put them through the ringer, and it's the system's fault. What, Brad Pitt is some monster? However, other sources pointed out that Judge Outerkirk made his decision last week following hours of testimony from child services staffers, therapists, and other professionals, all of who had spoken to the Jolie Pitt children. So, the system. You have therapists, you have other professionals, whatever that is. You have child service staffers, right? CPS type of people, all interviewing the kids. And they take them apart. Take them separately, and they say, "Hey, did this happen? Did that happen? Whatever, you know." It's what they do. An insider familiar with the divorce told Page Six that Pitt's ultimate aim was always just to spend more time with his children. That's it. To make sure they're happy, healthy, and cared for. This is what Brad Pitt wants for his kids. Adding that the actor, who is 57, is being careful not to celebrate as it's still a tentative ruling. He's celebrating being able to see his kids. It's not about money. It's not about land or power. Power taken away from her. And I often wonder how much time she really spends with her kids since she's out there making movies and on the circuit and traveling around the world, right? They got nannies taking care of the kids. So I believe she treats these children like possessions, which there are women that do that, and they use their kids as for leverage for all kinds of stuff in life. You know what I mean? But the experts said that there's no issue, right? And at the end of the day, it was Angelina Jolie who was found not to be credible by all of these people. So all these people said she's lying. When they say that you're not credible, that's a really fancy word. Like if you're rich, they say, well, the things they're saying aren't credible. If you're poor, they say you're a horrible liar. You're full of it. Not found to be credible. Okay. She thought there would be charges brought against Brad after the plane incident. She dropped her lawyer. You know what? You know what the plane incident was? So they had this kid that they adopted, one of these Asian kid, and he was a handful. The most out there, off the wall, always causing problems, causing problems for the people in the airport, whatever. So Brad Pitt grabbed him on the air. They're on the runway trying to get into their private plane, and the kid's going nuts, running around, and it's dangerous. He grabs him, and he's like, "You stop it. Get in that plane," like any father would. Like any father would. A lot of fathers would have picked his ass up and put him in that plane, right? Most of you fathers don't have a personal airplane, a private jet, but you put him in that Hyundai. You get him in that Ford. Get him in the back of that station wagon. Right? And she called the FBI on him months later or years, when they start getting divorced. She turned him into the FBI and the Port Authority, saying it was an international incident since it was an international airport. This is the woman. All women want to put their ex-boyfriends or husbands in jail. Every last one of them. Unless you really have a good relationship with them, which is unlikely. They want you to go to jail. They call the cops on you. My ex called the cops on me. How many years ago was it? She was on Long Island. I was upstate, right? I went to go see my friend Will, and we hung out. And it was Valentine's Day. So she had found this girl's, like, I had a cell phone that was for my business, and she had gone through it and found, I texted this girl who was a friend, right? And so she and I were having a lot of problems at that time. And this girl sends me a picture of herself in a bra, she's a friend, and, she knows I was interested with her, obviously. I was on the way to get my car washed. I was on the way to wash the car, and she sends me this picture. I'm like, whoa. And we're texting back and forth, all that. That's what happened, right? Nothing else happened besides that. Been friends with a girl for multiple years, still to this day. So Valentine's Day, I go see my friend Will. We're hanging out, and just watching some stupid movie. And then I'm like, all right, I go to the store. I go to the store. Well, first I'm driving there, and then this girl Sarah calls me, And then she starts talking to me, asking me all these weird questions. Do you love me? Like, I love you. I love you as a friend. That type of stuff, right? Like, it was weird, you know? So all of a sudden, as I'm talking to her, all happy, you know what I mean? I hear this other voice cut in like a knife through my heart. And it was my ex, and she was on the phone. They freewayed me. Like, she had called, and my ex is a very mentally powerful person. She was in sales. She knows how to manipulate people very easily, happily, joyfully. She had called this girl and told her all kinds of crap. And then, of course, Sarah was like, what the hell's going on? And that, like that, right? They ambushed me, man. So I just hung up. And I continued on my path of going to the store. And so I go to the store. It was a Walmart. That's when I shopped in Walmart. And I'm like, I parked in front. I was walking in. And this police car goes by. And I thought I heard my name over the police radio. And the cop is laughing. He's laughing. I'm like, this is weird. And I walk right past him. Go inside the store, come out. And so then my ex calls me. She's like, yeah, tell me all this stuff. She's like, how come the cops haven't arrested you yet? I'm like, for what? Well, I told them that you had drugs on you and all this other stuff, which I didn't, right? Bold-faced lie. So I said, what happened? And then I guess she called the precinct up in Ithaca and said these things. And the cop said, did you see him do the drugs? And she said, no. And he's like, where are you? She's like, on Long Island. And then that's why that cop was laughing. But it's not funny because she tried getting me in trouble with the police for no reason. Nothing. Because she was mad. Because things weren't good. And things weren't good because of that. You know what I mean? So anyway, look at the situation. She thought that there would be charges brought against Brad after the plane incident. So the system's broken because the system won't be on its knees. Oh, yeah. So she dropped her lawyer, Laura Wasser, and claimed that Brad owed her millions in support, which is untrue. Another lie. So the woman, Angelina Jolie, like a lot of people, are liars. Jolie has frequently taken her kids on the red carpet and out in full glare of the cameras. They were seen all posing with her sans Maddox, who was studying at Yonsei University in Seoul, South Korea, during the premiere of, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. You think she actually had to stretch her personality to play that role, Mistress of Evil? You think that's just totally Angelina Jolie, right? I've never seen those movies. I've only seen parts of it. It gives me a horrible feeling in my stomach just to even see her for some reason. So yeah. She then included the kids in a glossy cover story and photo shoot for British Vogue entitled At Home with Angelina Jolie, which captured her and her kids at the estate formerly owned by the Hollywood legend Cecil B. DeMille. Her house in Los Feliz, California. Jolie bought the property for $24.5 million in 2017. The source alleged that the Tomb Raider star has used the kids as tools through the court process, adding Brad has never referenced his kids apart from thanking them in his Oscar speech. Reps for both Jolie and Pitt declined to comment. So you see, this is where one of the most powerful guys in the world in show business, Brad Pitt, the crap that he has to go through. There you go, right? Will Smith, another guy. Will Smith one time said he wanted to be so famous that no woman would ever, no wife of his would ever cheat on him. Isn't that funny? He said that, and how prophetic that she did, and how he must have felt inside. But it really comes down to this. You don't own the other person that you're with. You're just with them. It's not forever. When someone tells you something's forever, it's bullcrap. There's no such thing. There's no guarantees. There's no nothing. I mean, it either works or it doesn't work. And if it doesn't work, it should be over, right? So talking about what doesn't work. Here we go. Last story of the evening. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry warned that their fairy tale is wearing thin. And as the U.S. turns on them, first of all, the U.S. was never behind them. If you think for a second that the United States gives a crap about Prince Harry or his Barbie Malibu Barbie princess, it's ridiculous, and mostly people in America loathe people who are that wealthy, number one. And number two, especially when they're talking all kinds of crap about Americans while they're in America. They got kicked out of Canada because they didn't want them there. And now they're going to kick out of America, right? So anyway, and this girl's got this dude, Harry, he's the guy's a total cuck. This woman's got him wrapped around her little finger. She's turned him against his family. She got Oprah on board. Now Oprah's going to do all kinds of series on this and have Harry just vent and vent and vent about the royal family. Oprah's Revenge. That's what they should call the show. Oprah's Revenge, right? All right. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have been warned that the fairy tale is wearing thin in the U.S. by a commentator who claimed Americans are starting to hate them. Lee Cohen, who was an expert on Anglo-American matters for the House of Representatives Foreign Affairs Committee, hit out at the Duke and Duchess of Sucket for having besmirched the royal family in their Oprah Winfrey interview. Mr. Cohen, now a senior fellow at the UK think tank of the Bow Group, or Bow, at the Danube Institute, said at the time many of his fellow Americans believe the blame must lie anywhere but with Meghan and Harry. I don't know who said that. However, Mr. Cohen, another guy from the UK, telling Americans what they're supposed to think, right? However, Mr. Cohen added that recent events have sparked more critical assessments of the couple in the U.S. Writing in The Sun, he said on both sides of the Atlantic, everyone loves the Cinderella story, but as they have gotten to know Meghan, the Brits saw that she was really an ambitious self-promoter with a social justice agenda. Now Americans are getting a chance to see what the couple are really about, and the fairy tale is over. Over the past few days, the U.S. headlines have been crying fury, and this can be expected to feed through to the general opinion. Mr. Cohen blasted Harry for describing the First Amendment, which protects the rights of free speech, as bonkers. This First Amendment is bonkers. How dare people have the right to free speech? In my country, we cut their kneecaps off if they say anything. Only the royal family has the right to free speech. They're bonkers. Bonkers. This guy is pussy drunk like anybody, worse than anybody's ever seen in my life. And we're bonkers because we have free speech. And I was able to say that. I was able to say that in this great country. And what a douchebag Harry is. I say that too. Off with his head. He said, it doesn't seem yet to have dawned on Harry that whether or not he's representing his birth country, criticizing his host country is unlikely to bring him any fans. Mr. Cohen concluded that there will always be someone who passionately defend the fallen royal couple, no matter royal companies through my brain. They're a company, right? No matter their behavior. He continued, but with each new muddled sucket of observation, unsubstantiated claims, and disloyal act, ever more Americans will come to realize that the couple's failure rests on their own shoulders rather than on the British nation and the institution of the monarchy. The Suckets are living in California after quitting royal duties last year, made a set of damaging claims about the royals on their tell-all TV interview with Oprah Winfrey. Harry went on to criticize his family once again during his appearance in the Armchair Expert podcast earlier in May. The Duke of Sucket also prompted a backlash over his comments about First Amendment, with a host of U.S. commentators reacting furiously to the dickhead's remarks. And Harry has sparked further controversy with the latest attack on the royal family and his new mental health documentary series with Winfrey, The Me You Can't See, which was released on Apple TV on Friday. The Duke of Sucket accused his family of total neglect when Meghan was left feeling suicidal by the social media trolling. He said every single ask, request, warning, whatever it is, to stop got to met with total silence or total neglect. I'm shocked they didn't drop everything to comfort her, you know. Oh my god. Oh my god. Talk about narcissists. Oh my god. As I read this, I'm just like absorbing the narcissism. Oh my god. She was suicidal. You ever think that girl would kill herself in a million years? That's like the whole thing. I'm gonna kill myself. Yeah, yeah. You know the people that say it seldom do it. But she's just the worst possible person. She's could probably be really good friends with Angelina Jolie. Maybe even learn, right? They learn off each other. Harry added, "We spent 4 years trying to make it work. We did everything that we could possibly could to stay there and carry on doing the role and doing the job." The 36, they should have stripped him of all of his money. When they sent him out, his title and his money. You know that movie Arthur, where the guy was a drunk and then he wouldn't marry this arranged marriage chick, and they took all of his money away, and he had to go live in some cockroach infested apartment with Liza Minnelli. And living with Liza Minnelli's got to be bad enough, but with cockroaches, I would have freaking hung myself, man. So yeah, we did everything we could to placate my woman, but she was still unhappy no matter what we did. The 36-year-old also lambasted the parenting skills of his brother, Prince Charles, and he warned he would never be bullied into silence in the future. Meghan and Harry quit royal duties in March of 2020 for a new life across the pond. A move dubbed Megxit. I've seen Oprah's thing. I didn't watch the damn thing because I really don't like Oprah all that much. And she's all right, but whatever, man. It's not my cup of tea. But I'll tell you, she got Dave Chappelle on there too, crying about how the system abused him and the mental health. Yeah. Frank Zappa a long time ago, decades ago, said mental health was going to be one of the biggest challenges in the U.S. But people use it as a crutch. And this girl Meghan is way better off than anybody else. I mean, anybody else. And they cry about poverty. People are poor, and they go around wearing, $10,000, $15,000 suits and dresses and getting into private planes and having, they got a beautiful spread in Malibu, big palace right on the ocean, man. You know what? They're hypocrites and they're losers. They're the worst people that you'll ever meet, and how dare they? So I'll leave you with that on the Red Pill News. I hope you have enjoyed the show. It's time to end it. It's a shame that the Duke and Duchess of Sucket aren't better people, but they're not going to be. And if you wait for them to be better people, they won't be. All right. I'll see you guys next week on United Public Radio Network, UPRN Talkradio.com, 107.5 New Orleans, 104.7 in Paris Christian, saying, yeehaw, whatever that means.